stream on first contact. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. I am middle of my day, just kind of getting ready to like roll back into the world right now. So I'm going to have you get ready with me because I was thinking all of these thoughts while I was doing my first layer of makeup here. And I was like, I should just shoot a video on first contact. So I'm going to do all those things. We'll see how I can juggle it. What else do I want to say to you guys? I do have a free training with the Akashic records. It's an 11-part free video training where I teach you how to jump into your Akashic records if that's new for you. If you're interested in things in the vein of first contact and spirituality and metaphysics, go sign up for that free training, linked below. I also have my source code framework monthly membership open for enrollment, where I teach you all things arcane and divine magic. It's a mystery school, but it's more like a shamanic mystery school. So we're going to cover the cosmic mystery school basics, not just basics, like everything. How the universe works, how source works, how to work it, how your soul works. And then we're also going to be going into earth-based shamanic protocol, how to manage your own energy, how to feed your own energy, working with the elemental structure of the forces of nature. I'm going to teach you all of it because it's a total necessity, I think, to be a spiritually awakened human at this point, a soul in the human body. So I'm gonna get ready, drink my coffee here, and talk a little bit about the background of first contact, what it is, and the scoop behind that. I am a little nervous to talk about this. And when I say a little nervous, I mean a lot of nervous, but needed to be done. Okay, do we have some light? I think we do. All right. We will do the influencer things. Like, get ready, because that's what I got on my plate right now. Oh, hold on. I need something in my bag. Okay, so first contact. First contact. It's what everybody talks about. It's not something that's ever been an obsession of mine. I actually just, throughout the years, have not really cared that much about first contact. What is it? It's the contract with humanity that talks about, when do we meet the aliens? When do we meet the aliens? It's very, what do you call it? It's like the space age, you know, when the government and NASA is just like, we're sectioning all this off as Area 51. Nobody can get to know it or understand it except for government officials or what have you. Anyway, there's been a whole plan, which many of you know, for first contact for humanity. And it's supposed to be happening within the next decade, I believe. But it was pushed up. Like, it was contracted for sooner rather than later. And I will tell you, also I need to set some protection invocation. I'm asking for spiritual canopy for everyone who's listening, that you are protected in hearing what I'm sharing, because it is so violently fought over, esoterically and cosmically, that even hearing about first contact can trigger things in your energy. Anyway, you're protected by me and my stream and spiritual canopy, because I practice that really actively. Okay. First contact is meeting aliens. Now, people think it's going to be a physical thing. It will be at some point. And I have a lot of things to say on this, and I'm just going to kind of stream of consciousness through. And if there are nuggets, which of course there will be with me, right? We'll find them throughout. I can feel myself like wanting to cry. Like, this is a hard topic for me to talk about, because what I'm going to share with you guys is what I've been through. And it's so traumatizing spiritually that I just, my internal guidance is like, you have to talk about this. Like, you can't just be quiet about this stuff. Because there are so many people running around, like, connecting the alien, like, first contact, send us the aliens. And I'm like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Like, it is essentially like a rape protocol for the soul. Like, it's the easiest way to wipe out humanity is to send first contact. Like, that's what I'll say. It's, I am a very, very strong soul. And I may decide to tell you a little bit of what I've been through, that most souls can't handle, and I would never want to handle it again. Like, I have such a pain threshold spiritually, it's insane. And my guides recently have been like, you've been through so much spiritual abuse and spiritual trauma that like we need to start cleaning this up. And it does have to do with what I'll call first contact. Now, is that physical? Like these things go back and forth. It really is mental. It's mental and psychospiritual first, always. I have been on ships, most of them benevolent, etc. Some of them not. And I do remember them, not as a physical memory, but what happens when other beings bring us onto ships. And this is pretty, it's like kind of standard. If you're spiritual, you've probably been on a ship. Like, I'm gonna be honest. But it's like, what they do is they open and they close timelines. So it feels like less of a physical memory, unless you're supposed to have that physical memory. And it feels like more of a spiritual memory. So it'll feel like, I don't know if you guys can hear me turn. It'll feel like a past life. Or it'll come across like a past life. Oh my gosh. Bear with me. First contact. Okay. What else do I want to say about that? For those of you that have been wondering or curious about it, I would encourage you to just like let it be. Like, don't chase first contact, don't jump around. Advocate for first contact. I don't recommend it. I know a lot of people that are channels that are open the way that I am, that channel lots of light beings, and everyone's like, yes, first contact is coming. Yes, we should do it and embrace it and embody it. And here's what I'll tell you. Humanity is not ready. And that's why first contact is being pushed on us spiritually from both the divine and from alternate sources. It's a way of controlling Earth and forcing its ascension into a specific timeline track so that Earth can't ascend multidimensionally in its natural state of ascension. It'll be in a forced track of ascension, which is what divine forces, I'm putting them in big quotes, okay, because divine is all relative, just higher forces and alternate forces want for Earth, because then they can control all of the souls on Earth and the Earth itself. So souls are negotiated daily as currency. It's why people will talk about like don't sell your soul to Satan, or some people sell their souls, other people have their souls held in negotiation. Some people do actually own their souls, but it's rare. And most souls are negotiated through religions. I am not tethered to anything, and I've had to fight very, very hard for my freedom as a soul. And it goes throughout the universe. So, you know, you might not even know, and your guides might not even show you, because it's pretty traumatizing to know where your soul actually is a lot of times. And when we incarnate on Earth, most of us are lost. Or are in bad contracts. So I don't know why I'm being guided to tell you this, but I am right now. The Earth is a designated like prison planet. So it's been sanctioned for Satan, which we could just call like lower level entity types, because the enslavement patterns, I'll put in big quotes again, enslavement patterns are for physical enslavement. You're enslaved to your body effectively. And then we have to figure out our own ascension in order to remove the enslavement patterns to the body physically and be able to ascend. And the higher realms, God, source, intelligence, higher realms, etc., look at humans like ants in their ascension. They have very little respect for us in general because they're like ants. Like, even to the degree, like yesterday, I had ants on my kitchen counter and I was like squishing them. I was like, they're too many, they have to leave. And my main guide came in and she was like, you can't be angry with us when we treat humans this way. This is the way it is. Because it's pest control at the lowest level of the soul, essentially. Where else do I want to go with that? So, I don't know. That's what we're dealing with. And first contact is the humanity contract, where beings from other dimensional realities, aliens, come to Earth to show us that life exists on other planets. And like, of course life exists on other planets. I remember when I was young, like, I think it might have been my parents were like, do you believe in aliens or something? And I was like, yeah, of course, because, like, it would be stupid to not. Like, we are definitely not the only rock. And I knew that as a kid because I was an open channel when I came into body. I didn't just all of a sudden have a spiritual awakening. I am the spiritual awakening. Like, I was born with my my third eye fully open so that I could navigate this crazy reality that is humanity. And we'll see. Based off of this live stream, I'll probably talk more about first contact in general and or in the source code. But I am kind of working with my live streams as like ongoing content as far as like what I want to talk about. And then I will refine it. Thank you for you guys for joining me. Feel free to subscribe. I don't know how many of you are in here. I did turn the comments off because the comments were insane yesterday. Okay. What else do we need to know? This is my test on this content, and then I will come in at a certain another point and tell you guys more. I'll go into it more now, and we'll chop it down later or whatever. I believe that content needs to be done in a way that it's like unfolding in a natural way, and then we can refine it as we go. Which is a little bit different than how other people do content, but regardless. You guys can let me know in the comments on the video, as opposed to the live chat, like, do you believe in aliens? Have you seen any? How do you feel about that? I feel about aliens the same way I feel about ghosts. I'm like, don't fucking come anywhere near me. Like, that's why. Like, when I go out to Joshua Tree, I'm like, no. If you come near me, it has to be in my typical channel, and it has to be safe. But I don't want to see any physical spacecrafts. I have seen them in the sky. You can see Pleiadian aircrafts fly. Pleiadians are fine. That's not... First contact is probably going to be a very different experience. It'll be a little bit more aggressive. And the reason why I can tell you that is because I have some serious spiritual intelligence that I have escaped from the planes of having to like people please the highest guardians, and I have new guardians. They weren't my guardians, but like how the universal structure is created and run. If you say the wrong thing at the right time to the wrong godhead, like they're like off with their head. Fucking Marie Antoinette up there, like I'm not even joking you. Like they are not all love and light. That's what I'll say. And you know, I don't know that anyone else would have the experience I do, because you can't talk about this stuff if you're tied into one of the Godhead religions. I have a separate, it's taken me a long time to free my soul of this, and it's been exhausting, but I have a separate connection where my connection is to me and to my higher power is the highest part of my soul. So it's always back with me, and then to the planet and to the elements, so that I can establish my own source connection without having to like people please a god. And that is a very, very real thing. I mean, any of you that follow the Bible know that the God in the First Testament is a nightmare. Then there's like the next God. Then there's like the God of the Torah is another offshoot of that. And then there's like Allah, like pray to whoever you pray to, and Krishna, right? Like they're all interesting, but they all got rules, baby. They got rules. And it's like a parent. And if you have a curfew and they said you have a curfew and you go against those rules spiritually, you will be smited. Like, what does that mean? It means you'll be cut off from your highest power, the highest version of you, and you'll be dumbed down. They, souls work with electricity. We are electric. So it has to do with like turning on and shutting off voltage. So if you piss the wrong one off, which most of you won't, or if you do, you do it by mistake because you really are in like a certain way of doing things spiritually. You're kind of already just sanctioned, I think is the word I would use, into a specific protocol, and you would know before you piss off God. Like you kind of get this like precursor lightning strike. You'll get like a warning before you piss them off, whoever your God is, essentially, whoever your higher power is. And higher powers negotiate with other higher powers, as well. So sometimes you won't get it directly from the Godhead, but you'll get it from your soul, who is working with another higher power, as they all are. What happened to my light? There we go. Okay, well, thanks for doing makeup with me. And I will sit here and just explain a little bit about first contact and why I think it's a terrible idea. Why I think it's a terrible idea. I will be going into more truths like this in the Source Code Framework, which is my monthly program over the next 8 to 9 months, because it's like the missing curriculum for humanity. Like, everybody thinks they want one thing, and they're like, oh my God, we're all going to open up, and it's going to be so highly spiritual, and we're going to ascend. We'll ascend to the 12D by aliens coming to the planet. And it's like, no, that's actually going to create a fallen timeline and a fallen matrix. And I'll explain why, because my loves, was the guinea pig. I hate being the guinea pig, but I was. I'm sure there were other guinea pigs on other timelines as well. I have no doubt that God is testing all of the things. And when I say God in this context, the one that's running first, this looks so funny. It's cute when I stand up. I'm sitting down, it's like all frumpy. The source, Godhead, I guess, if you will, that's running first contact is a feminine higher power that runs the multiverse. And Earth has been planned for first contact for a while. And the reasoning behind it is to force ascension. So the roots of this idea from this level of higher intelligence is that humanity's not moving fast enough with its evolution. So it needs to be coaxed and forced ahead. They're not moving fast enough in their organic evolution, so let's interfere. This has and has not worked in the past. I would say overall it has not worked, not in a benevolent way. And that's why so many of us were sent to the planet to effectively save it and raise it in ascension frequency, because the planet was going to blow itself up. Either the humans or the Earth was actually going to just take over the surface and kill everything on the surface. It was either going to be that or a nuclear war. And this is all the result of World War II. There were so many starseeds sent in to like save the planet, essentially, and save humanity. Anyway. Where do I want to take this? The higher powers that are divine consciousness that are running the show for first contact are doing so to force humanity into development that humanity is not naturally taking in its natural organic evolution. And I want you to think about it like this, because this is how I explained it at the higher level to all these entity types when they did it to me. You can't rush a child's development. If you have a 10-year-old, they are a 10-year-old. If you introduce that 10-year-old to things that are adult developmental components, like if you try to introduce them to, this is so weird, but I'm just, let me think. Is there a better example? It's like rushing a child's development. So for a 10-year-old, a 10-year-old is a 10-year-old is a 10-year-old. They will naturally become an 11 and a 12, a 13, a 17, a 19-year-old, right? They will naturally develop with the natural rhythm and flow of source. It does not need to be rushed. That is the natural evolution of consciousness. Humanity are children. We are children. We are between 5 and 7 years old, children in our consciousness. And source is fed up. And I'm not saying that to be like weird or mean. It's like it's true. And when I say source, I mean the higher intelligence that runs the multiverse. Again, not necessarily benevolent, depends on the day. They're trying to rush human development because there are many, many, many alternative agendas that have to do with soul ownership. There's a lot of energy and a lot of spiritual power, and a lot of spiritual frequency by dominating groups of souls. Humanity is one of the only places where we have souls from all over the multiverse that are here, that have been sanctioned here, mostly out of punishment. It is kind of a prison, and there are different ways to live through that prison. So there are prison guards on Earth. There are inhabitants that were criminals somewhere else in the universe on Earth. It's why we have such a racy planet. This happened on Orion as well, is what I'm being told. And then there are also plenty of us that got looped in that don't belong here, that were actually like pulled out of our family structures through what's called soul swiping. They pull your soul out of a body, or through war or something so traumatic that through your soul experience multidimensionally, and this is like through past life work, you would know this, your soul gets separated from your soul group. And the soul group, the soul family, is what keeps you together. It's what keeps you fed spiritually. And they destroy the family unit of the soul, separate the souls that then get lost through reincarnation cycles and through stargates. They don't know which gate to go to. They're often misguided and misled, and somehow they end up on Earth. Because this is like the planet of like, either you screwed up and you belong here. This is like one of like the highest security prisons is Earth. And this is I'm also talking to this is the lower dimensional reality. We also have higher dimensional realities that can be nirvana focused, that I'm also happy to talk about in future streams. But right now I want to do the education on the lower dimensional reality of Earth that everyone is walking through one degree or another. This is like when you fall mentally, when you fall spiritually, you're falling into these frequencies. They're the prison frequencies. That's why I'm just going to add a couple of things here. I don't know how this will all string together, but that's why like monks and nuns and priests have such a rigid schedule and protocol. You can think about them like being in solitary confinement, being isolated in a prison, that prison being Earth, and that there is a criteria for ascension. If you follow the specifics of solitary confinement, that you will ascend, and that the Most High has allowed that process because it causes the most pain, and they appreciate pain and sacrifice at the most high levels in exchange for enlightenment. And if you gain your enlightenment through, generally speaking, a more expansive, curious, childlike approach, that your consciousness is then contained or raped to keep you in a child's state so you never move again. They freeze the frequencies multidimensionally. Anyway, I'm going to keep walking through this. This is either going to be super advanced for some of you, or some of you will be able to sink into some of it. I'm also not linking all of the thoughts because there's too much at the moment spiritually, and I can't channel the collective with this because it would tear my soul apart. Like, so I have to keep it contained. There's a lot of rules with energy work that most people have no idea, and even most channels like don't know. They just like do their connect, or like my guides call it my hot wiring. They're like, you hot wire right in. And they had to train me to do it a little bit differently because they were like, you keep hot wiring. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just know where to go. Okay, so it has to do with how the mind of a human evolves, which is natural ascension. That natural ascension is like, you cannot race a 10-year-old to become a 17-year-old. The only way they become a 17-year-old is through walking the pace of becoming a 17-year-old. The highest powers multidimensionally, the higher God source intelligence. I'm just gonna come right out. She's a spider queen. If you've ever seen a Black Widow, she weaves the web of creation. She is a Most High. I'm not going to call her the Most High because I found more, because I get very frustrated working with this level of intelligence, because she's cutthroat and mean, and she tried to tear my soul apart already several times, and I've had to, without going into detail, like the level of spiritual surgery I've had to undergo to keep my soul is insane. And the reason why I even have the memory of it is because my soul is independent. I have an independent soul. It's like really fucking rare, especially on Earth, because I have worked very, very hard to maintain my spiritual independence. But this shit happens to people every day. She destroys people every day. And if it's not her, it's coming down to the, like, if you don't follow the specific protocols spiritually, like, you're wiped out. Most of you are protected through your religious structures. It's the point of religion, honestly. Whatever your belief systems are, and or if your soul families are really, really aligned to you. So the point of all of this is there's a natural progression. There's a denial of that natural progression multidimensionally because nobody cares about humans. Nobody cares. They look at humans like ants, literally. I've been told this so many times. They're like, you're just ants and we just breed you. And we just like swipe your little souls for ants and we place those souls somewhere else because it's worth a certain amount of energy. If you think about energy, like how we collect energy, either it's with natural gas or propane or wind or solar or water, the universe collects energy through soul voltage. A certain amount of ants together creates a certain amount of voltage that runs the universe, right? So their agenda is to accelerate human consciousness because they want souls that are more plump in order to negotiate with, to get more energy. Now, Gaia's consciousness is not behind this. Gaia doesn't want this. Gaia has been fighting most of her existence around this because they keep over accelerating humans' consciousness by either adding in Syrian DNA or the Anunnaki DNA, or like our bloodlines are so messed, you guys. The human bloodlines are just so dark. Even the lightest of the bloodlines are not light. Like, you know, it's just like a lot of soul cleansing work has to be done spiritually for humanity. Just really up to each individual party. But anyway, so I'm just thinking through for a moment where I want to go, because this is it's a, you guys, this is just a taste. Like, it's like a saga. I could write books on this, and I don't know that I want to, but I'm gonna touch on it. But I could write books on it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story recently over the last 3 weeks. I was brought onto a ship. They raped my mind. They did a memory wipe and cleared out my Akashic records. And I had to go back and find all the data myself without digging up old timelines. And my guides are amazing and wonderful. So they went through and they were actually able to resurface my memories at the soul level. But all of this was done because essentially on this timeline, I'm sure there are more, but I was a guinea pig for a first contact because I already had conscious awareness of the Most High. And I have spoken to her and I have channeled her, and she, I guess I would say was in possession of my soul for a certain period of time. I have since revoked that contract and my soul is mine. And it took quite a bit of negotiation. That's a really gentle way of saying war, cosmic war, cosmic war. Also because I represent a lot of different bloodlines on the planet. So for me to take my soul is to like clear a lot. It's like, it just does a lot. Anyway, so, the way that they do first contact is they introduce you to the Most High, whatever that's going to be, whether it's, and the Most High is a spider race. And any of you that have followed any level of starseed anything or any of the conspiracy theories know that the spider races are the most assaulting, most aggressive of the starseed races. And the Most High, she's actually been denounced because of the work that I do at this point. And I'll teach you guys as I can, like where to go from there. But generally your religions are protecting you. But it's like, she's a spider. Everybody when you'll hear this through even like shamanic culture, it's like the grandmother weaver. She's the weaver. And there's nothing wrong with spiders inherently, but their consciousness is psychopathic. Can they be sweet? I don't know. Like, you think a black widow could be sweet? The first time I encountered a black widow in California, I was mesmerized. They mesmerize the soul. And it's like a hypnosis. They put you under a hypnosis. It's like a spell. They're the queens and kings of witchcraft and the occult are the spiders, which is why I always say, like, don't play with witchcraft. Like, don't fucking play. Don't even touch it. You're just signing contracts with spider races. I'd like to educate more about them at some point because I've had a lot of spiritual and metaphysical encounters with the spider races in many different forms. They're generally driven by a more narcissistic feminine consciousness. And it's very present in the universe. It's very present on Earth as well. It's just often hidden because we're generally under the jurisdiction or domain of the masculine consciousness, which is more like your typical, either like the sun god, or like some of you will know Yahweh, like the god in the Bible, like the jealous god, like just the masculine, like keep him please to leave you alone. Like it's, I don't know, like there are different levels. This spider witch is a real like I'm saying this kind of joking right now, but I've been through a lot of trauma recently. And I gotta release it and start opening up my heart and talking about this crazy shit that I wish I didn't have to go through. But it's like really interesting how just I haven't been able to shut off my consciousness. So it's that's the whole point of this, is like we're almost forced into alignment. Like the moment a human consciousness connects with the most high frequencies, these 12th dimensional frequencies, it's like they're like, oh my gosh, that human can connect with us. We will show the human everything. And the human, either me or I'm not the only on the planet. Like there are those of us that are just like, what the fuck did you just unload on me? I had no idea we were in that level of a cosmic war. And for the human consciousness to start to understand that in a way that the mind can contain is highly traumatic. And it is, we are in a war-based system. So when you guys think about first contact, it is first contact. It's like, I don't know enough about war. I'm like, what would that be? It's like sending, I don't know, like spies from other troops over to the other side and having them like come with a fake peace treaty. And then once they sign the fake peace treaty, then they get swarmed and eaten alive. Like that's first contact. First contact is either coming from the Greys or the spider races. Can we have enough of this, like, yes, send the aliens? No. Now, of course, there are many different aliens. There are many different, and I don't love calling them aliens. That's just what most people would understand them as. Extra dimensionals, right? Many extra dimensionals. We've got the Pleiadians, the Arcturians. We've got the Lyrans. We've got the Syrians, the Mintonkans. There are so many across just even, the Andromedans. We have so many just across this universe alone that are highly benevolent. But that's not who's running that ship. They might be a part of it, and if first contact comes from a higher race, it's just to bait and switch. That's what these cosmic beings do. They bait and switch. Now, how do we handle that as humans? We pray for spiritual canopy and say, please keep my little sweet human soul and my human consciousness safe so that I can remain a child as long as I feel that I need to remain a child. Cosmically, I had to grow up. I don't have that as a human anymore. And I wish I did. And I don't know how I would have been able to protect it. It's kind of like having a child experience extraordinary trauma, and then they have to grow up and become an adult in a 7-year-old's body. You can't take it back. You can't replace it. They kind of just have to figure out how to be an adult as a child. That is what First Contact is here to do. It's here to force all of humanity to all of a sudden grow up. And it's to steal the inner child journey, which is to steal the soul, because the soul and the inner child are synonymous at a lot of different levels. And what First Contact really is about forcing the mind of humanity to destroy the previous mental construct that it's built on and open up into expansion, which is like a nice idea, but you can expand too fast. Think about it like in sexual development. Like as a child, like you want them to remain a child and not have to be exposed to things until they are ready in their teens, until they are naturally led into whatever sexual development that they choose. But you would never force that. Like that is consciousness. It can, if it's forced, it is like it's a rape at the most high level, mentally and spiritually. And then that we have to figure out how to recover from that. Can we? Like, yeah, but it's going to take eons and eons of soul work and time collapsing to figure it out. And that's what they count on. They're just looking to slow shit down here. Because they all have alternate agendas. And this is where my mind was broken open. And I'm happy I have it. I appreciate the truth, but it's exhausting because it's like, oh, that whole peace, love, and light thing that we do on this planet, it's really non-existent. Everybody has an agenda. Some cultures, some starseed groups, some planets are allowed to purely focus on love and light for ascension. But it's more rare. They're given spiritual canopy or sanction for a specific reason, and it's generally another reason for war, if I can be honest with you. Because we have a war god. We have several war gods. Now, anyone that knows any level of territory understands that war is necessary for protection. But it's just, how is it used? And is it the only frame of reference in mind? So is the Most High only looking through the eyes or lens of war, which she has been? She's a spider. That's what they're not, they don't eat plants, you guys. Like spiders hunt. They eat other living beings. Like, so if you understand the Most High from the perspective of a carnivorous Most High, then you'll understand that there's no way for that structure to work without war, because that's the root. That's the frame of reference. Humanity can go either way. We're not purely carnivorous in our consciousness. We can be, what's the other word? We can eat botanicals. We can be vegan. It has to do with the consciousness, and there's nothing wrong with being a carnivorous consciousness either. It's just, look at where the most high frequencies are. They're dominating war-based frequencies that look to capture and steal, claim territory, and make minions, little spiders, in consciousness that then run the show and keep everybody entrapped and contained. Now, I'm not going to overwhelm the group here. I'm like, I actually know how a lot of this works, but I won't go into it. Prison guards, prison wardens, I know what those energies are. This will probably go over a lot of your heads. Also, there's another version of this where it's like actually working on your subconscious, where it's like just tying up frequencies and karma for you just listening to me. Because the truth is the truth is the truth. I've tried to read this in so many different ways, and it always comes back to the same frequencies. And I'm just like, wow. Wow. Gaia is the princess in this scenario, and she is not naturally a war-based consciousness. And that's where a lot of the struggle between Earth and the cosmos comes from, is that Gaia is not naturally a war-based consciousness. She is naturally, there's it, what's the, oh my gosh, I forget the starseed race. A heifer. She's naturally a cow. She's just like the you guys know how Indian cultures like prop the cow up as like the god. Like the cow is the all giving. You get the milk, you get everything from the cow. Like they just give and give and give and give and give. That's the earth. Like she just gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. It's a very different form of consciousness, which is why our ascension path does not require first contact. Not yet. In the next 10 years, I fucking hope not. If it is, it's a forced manipulation to rape consciousness of the lower consciousness of humans to get them into a fallen timeline. And it's funny too, even me talking like this, because I used to think this was just like, oh my gosh, like theories. And then all of the channeling I've done has taken me back here over and over and over again, and then made it so abundantly obvious that like it was drastically interfering with my human life. And I'm always safe, and I always know how to navigate safely. My mind is so expansive in its capacity that I can actually negotiate at the higher realms and levels, as in my human consciousness and in my subconscious. Which is how I've been able to get out of these things, but that's not typical for human. I would just recommend not doing first contact, honestly. Just not. Don't explore the aliens. Like, just focus on your own fucking meditation practice, yeah? Like, oh my dear God. Let me just reflect briefly. Is there anything else I want to say about the flowering of consciousness opening up naturally like a child? It doesn't need to be forced open. A child develops naturally based in curiosity. Like, we will curiously find our way into cosmic ascension. We do not need to be going out looking for aliens, building spacecrafts at this point of our human development. Like, it's like children walking around with machine guns. Like, this is not part of the human development that is necessary right now. At all. And I wish more people would just let it go and just come back into the beauty of what it is to be human. When it's not those prison planet lower frequencies, we are in fucking nirvana. Like, nirvana also exists on this planet at the same time. What is nirvana? It's having that curiosity. It's being the child. And having that like playful interaction with the natural ascension of what it is to be a human, which is just to be innocent. It's to be innocent. It's to explore. It's to build. It's to love. It's to enjoy. It's to follow the truth. It's to work with nature, to be with nature, to build homes with nature as opposed to being separate from nature. We are meant to be building a sustainable habitat on this planet, not like as a separate consciousness that takes from the planet and then leaves. And I think we have a very, very long way to go. And I don't think first contact is going to accelerate that process. I think it'll create more of what we don't need. I think it's driving humanity into those of you that know this, the fallen Atlantean timelines, where Atlantis fell because it pursued the ego, it pursued AI. It pursued technology over connection to the planet, and then the planet buried it underground. The planet put it underwater and destroyed the civilization, because the civilization created itself as more important than the planet it was on, than the planet it came from. And we're recreating these cycles now. Those of you that know the starseed history will know the Lemurian history, which is what I align with, is working with the planet. It's being with the planetary consciousness. It's not separating from the planet. It's not AI focused. It's, oh, look at that, 4444 on my timer. It's being part of the planetary consciousness, working with her, being respectful, being reverent to Gaia and to other humans, and to learning how to connect in a way that's really safe and sustainable, where we're looking out for each other. This isn't like a rat race to the top, like who can get to the fastest spaceship, get off the planet, and then like be in a, I don't even know. I'm gonna give you guys one more tidbit here. Earth is a ship. That was made very clear to me recently. I was like, oh, there are 8 billion people on this ship. What does that even mean? But it's interesting when you contextualize like Earth is like a project ship. That a ship could be this natural. It's very interesting. I have many things to say on these things. I channel so much, and they just like introduce these thoughts, and I get this like full awakening for myself, and I'm just like, wow, that's so interesting. What do I do with that? And then I just like store it in my memory bank. I write about what I channel, and then I just don't share it. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. So I'm just gonna start sharing some things as I move through them and tell stories, and you'll be along the path and the journey of like what it is to be someone that actually does dialogue with many different spirits, many different cosmic teams, the planet herself, the elementals. I prefer elemental work to cosmic work at this point. I have a lot of things to say on this. I think the cosmic work is necessary, but is damaging if it's not balanced with earth-based shamanic support spiritually, elemental support spiritually, working with nature spiritually is like a total necessity. Total necessity. It's very undervalued. Okay. Is there anything else I want to say? Let me see. If you have, to some level, enjoyed this, leave me a comment below and let me know what hit, what resonated, or what you want to hear more about, because I really am opening like a real Pandora's box of energy. It really felt like a necessity for me spiritually to do so. And it requires vulnerability for me to talk about this stuff, because it's a lot, and it's so open-ended, and I have no idea what people will think based on certain things that I say. But I'm happy to talk more about all of it in different segments. I have to do something like a stream like this and then kind of wrap my head around, like, what do you guys want to hear? Where's the interest? Like, I can fill in knowledge gaps in many different places, whether it's on YouTube or I will be, again, the Source Code Framework, my monthly membership, is a curriculum that I'm building out with you guys about learning and understanding arcane magic and divine magic combined. Arcane magic is the magic of the elements. It's working with source direct. It's your independent connection, independent of any god, independent of higher power. It is your connection and understanding to the elements and the elementals and how to work with them, which requires so much reverence and respect and understanding. It's learned skills, and I'm going to be teaching those skills so that you can always have access to your own consciousness, separate to whatever the hell is going on multidimensionally, universally, or even on the planet itself with the collective consciousness that's laying on top of our cities and grids, excuse me, that I won't even channel anymore. I know I can tap right into the collective and hear what you guys are thinking and saying, but it's like a virus. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. It's like a minefield. So many people have heard me describe the collective consciousness as a minefield. It's like, well, good luck not getting hurt or blown up. It's a very war-based consciousness that's surrounding the planet. You can avoid tackling that war-based consciousness by either going above or below. And when I say below, that's not hell. That's when I say below, I mean with the earth. You're channeling from the earth consciousness, which is what our arcane magic is. And she protects those frequencies. Then there's divine magic, all right? Divine magic is channeled source power. It's what most people would consider a higher power or God, source intelligence. That's like where accessing the Akashic records pulls in more of that channeled data. I also work with that. I have a 50-50 split. And I've been working through my consciousness and my ascension so rapidly for almost 2 decades. And The way that this is done safely, and I know that I'm a guinea pig for this for the universe, the way that we do this safely is we split it. You need it split 50-50. We need 50% cosmic consciousness and 50% elemental consciousness in order to make it through. When we give all of our power up to higher powers like gods, like in religions, etc., they have all of the power. And then we forget what it is to have our human power. We forget what it is to actually work with nature in a spiritual way. Because we're not introduced to it, because all of the higher powers and religions kick out shamanism. They call it witchcraft. Again, these are lines that need to be developed and discerned and spoken about so our human consciousness collectively can understand, like, shamanism isn't witchcraft. Can witchcraft be applied to shamanism? Yes. Are all shamans good? No. Are all people good? No. Like, you know, like, there are forces. You're either on one side or the other. You're either more light or more dark. And I can explain all of that in detail through my program, as I'm going to be channeling through the end of the year around these topics of understanding arcane magic and divine magic. We need both. We need both to be and feel safe and maintain our own like personal soul sovereignty. I'm trying to think too, most of the people that I work with they've all become sovereign through me, through my work. So they own their own souls. It's like, you know what it is? This is going to sound funny, but this is very human. It's like if you were to go get a car, it's like leasing a car versus owning a car. Like, you're leasing your soul. That's funny, but it's true. When people come to me and they work with me, they become in total ownership of their soul. And I never thought about that before. You don't really have complete access to your soul. You have access to whatever's allowed based on whatever previous arrangements your soul has made or fallen into mistakenly. Can you still have a good life? Yeah, but a lot of you are just like wondering why certain BS repeats or why certain things happen, or it's like, I mean, it has everything to do with how much of your soul power you have, and the level of control through which you can exercise to create a new life for yourself has everything to do with how much of your soul you occupy, how much of your voltage can you store in your battery, which is your human body. How much access do you have to soul food? So I might shoot another video on this, but we need soul food just like we need human food. So you eat food for your body so your body can function. You need soul food several times a day in consumption in order to maintain your spirit and keep it with your body. Most people don't have access to soul food, or they'll get it once a week through a religious structure, or they'll get it just like haphazard occasionally. And then they fall into these really just like darker human cycles. I'm not going to go into detail. It's just any of the bullshit that we have to deal with in humanity, or getting hurt, or it's like it all can be solved with soul food, but the human collective consciousness doesn't understand this. And I know I'm one of the first to be able to explain it because I've dedicated my life to this work. I don't go out and party on the weekends, you guys. I channel. Like, I've dedicated my life to this work. I am not a monk, but I kind of live like one. But I'm not one. I'm like a modernized version, upgraded version, I guess. I'm very devoted. I dedicate my life to this work. So it's allowed many, many years of me being able to open and understand, like, what is it that human consciousness needs to do to upgrade, to ascend, to be stable, and to enjoy our experience here, both spiritually and materially. Because we're often just stuck into the material. That's the whole enslavement pattern with Satan. It's like you're stuck into the material. And the way that higher universe looks at this is that we are enslaved. They have very little respect for Earth, almost none. It's actually insane. When I talk to Gaia, she's just like, they just bully the shit out of me. And I'm like, I get it. I see it. And that's unfortunate. And I think we should help her. And we help her by developing our own consciousness and connection with the planet. And remembering, like, we're human. But not enslaved to humanity. Like, we can be spiritually human. Isn't that fun? If you're interested in learning that combination of that magic, I am creating a 5th dimensional human blueprint. I have been for years. But anyway, it's going to be it is this program. So if you are interested in any or all of that, go check out the link in the description below. It's my monthly program called the Source Code. We build the code for your own independent source connection and many other things. It's soul food, soul nourishment. It'll open up your DNA and your awakening and your ascension in a way that's natural in your evolution rather than forced. That's what I have to say. Okay. We'll see if I keep this up or if I take this video down. If you want me to keep it up, leave me a comment. And or let me know what you want me to talk about within this in more detail at some point in the future. And thank you for joining me, you guys. Like the video, subscribe, tap the bell, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.